I don't think we need an intro.
Nope. And we're live. Welcome back to a live episode of the Buffaloes Breakdown podcast. We are Ralphie Report. I'm Ryland. This is Jake.
I'm Jake.
And yeah, how you doing, Jake?
Dude, I'm doing good. We had the bye week, so I watched some football. I've had time to kind of let that UCF win, sink in, and I've had time to enjoy that. And yeah, I don't know. It's been good. How have you been doing in I guess relation to Colorado football? How do you feel?
I feel the best I've felt about this program in a long time, so I have no complaints. I got
So it sounds
a little football break in me that was good, so I don't get too burnt down in college football.
yeah.
And we're back at it this week for a really fucking important game, a really important game.
Yeah.
So we got Kansas State coming to town, ranked 18th in the AP poll. I don't know where they're ranked in the coaches poll, but I know they're 18th in a three-way tie in the AP poll.
Yep.
Probably the most important game this team has played at home since 2016. So this is a doozy of a game. Kansas State I think they're currently the second highest odds to win the Big 12, with Utah being first. I think we are currently sixth. If we win this game, we're ranked. How are you feeling going into this game here? Oh, and I think you're muted. I do not hear you.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
There you go.
Got a lot of stuff going on over here. I think, with that UCF game, I think going into that, for whatever reason, I thought, yeah, this is going to be the biggest game of the season almost. Like, this game is huge. This is a milestone game. Well, yeah, it was a huge game, but now I'm looking forward, and it's like, dude, what are you talking about? Every game from now on is going to be important. And if this team keeps winning, the games only get more and more important. Buffalo's last week looked great. In these last 2 weeks, the Big 12 has been, we'll do this,
shaky at best.
Teams thought Oklahoma State was dogs. Nope. Now they're going to their second string QB now, I think. After I think they might be putting, I don't know if Bowman's hurt or if they're putting him on the bench, but I know probably putting him on the bench, if I had to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was bad. That was not a good week for them last week.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Virginia's not that good.
Yeah, and also here's a big thing that I think matters is Utah. Doesn't matter the circumstances. I know Cam Rising was out, but Utah lost. That can have implications, going into the conference championship. That makes that window for the Buffs just a little bit wider. With Utah losing, Kansas State already has a loss. The best team in the Big 12, you would not be crazy to say the best team in the Big 12 right this second is BYU. I mean, BYU looked good. And ultimately, I think if I had to guess, the odds right now is probably Utah BYU for that conference championship game, with Kansas State and Colorado was close to 3 and 4 probably.
Iowa State somewhere in there, because they're 5-0. They're undefeated in conference play, and Texas Tech is 3-0 in conference play too.
They're leading.
It's anybody's race, and Colorado could very realistically sneak in there. And if they win this weekend, we need to have some serious conversations about this team winning the conference. Because, Kansas State, they were the preseason favorites. Or no, Utah was. They were second place. They were the betting odds preseason favorites. The media poll, I think, had Utah won. But, this is a team that's expected to at least make it to Dallas in December to play in the conference title game.
Yeah.
If we beat Kansas State and advance to 3-0 in conference play, there's some serious discussions that need to be had about this team going the distance and at least playing in Dallas. I don't want to get ahead of myself, because this is Colorado football we're talking about. Let's not get too optimistic, because that's how you set yourself up for failure. But I don't know. Kansas State is really good. This is probably the hardest or the second hardest game on the schedule going forward. And if we beat K-State, if we end up in a tie with K-State in conference play, then we get the advantage. Like that's a huge thing. If we win, we're ranked too. That's huge. We would be ranked for the first time since week 3 of last year, which we all know how that went afterwards. But yeah, what are your thoughts about that? Do we need how excited, I guess, are you? Like, do you think that this is
I don't
know if a game?
Oh yeah, and I don't know if I'm more excited about the possibility of us moving towards 3-0 in the conference, or if I'm more excited about the prospect of Kansas State moving to 1-2 in the conference.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind that Arizona game doesn't count from week 2 or 3.
It does not, no, because that's non-conference technically, because that was agreed upon before Arizona joined.
They're so weird for that. They're super goofy, but and like Arizona, like if I'm Arizona, I'm like, yeah. Regular
I
exhibition.
Would say no way.
No. Yeah, and if I'm Kansas State, I'd have probably wanted that to be a conference game. But nonetheless, I don't know what I'm more excited about. I guess I'm more excited about CU moving towards 3-0, but a win against Kansas State here would really, really almost knock them out of contention for that Big 12 title. In my opinion, 2 losses this early in the season would make it almost an insurmountable. And I don't know what their schedule looks like, but I would imagine they play Iowa State, Utah, Oklahoma State, maybe 2 or 3 of probably 2 of those 3 teams. So, no, I think having 2 losses on your conference record this early would be a death sentence for them. Playing on the road at Folsom with a loss on the conference record 2 weeks into conference play, I don't like it for them. If I was a Kansas State fan, I would be dreading this game, especially with the momentum Colorado has. And as a Colorado fan, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what if it goes right? You know, what if it goes right? What if we keep rolling? What if this home crowd brings the juice and we go to 3-0 in the conference? All of a sudden, we're kind of looking like we can compete for that conference championship. And at that point, the ceiling for this team is whatever they make it. So this is a huge game, and we might look back on this game and say it was one of the bigger games of the year, if not the biggest game for the Buffs.
Yeah, looking at Kansas State's schedule, it's actually really soft. They play after this week. They play West Virginia in Morgantown, Kansas. I think they'll play Kansas in Manhattan, Houston in Houston, Arizona State in Manhattan, Cincinnati in Manhattan, and then they play Farmageddon against Iowa State in Ames. So Iowa State's the only good team they're going to play the rest of the year.
But with Kansas, Cincinnati,
Kansas is ass. Cincinnati's pretty.
I mean,
I would be comfortable calling Cincinnati mid.
I mean, they're ass, but Kansas State lost to BYU by 30 points. Like,
well, kind of Provo's a really hard place to play at, especially at night, and they did a really good job making Avery Johnson make mistakes, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But yeah, there's a road to victory against this team, and BYU showed the country that. But I guess we can jump right into that. What do you see on tape that Colorado needs to exploit to win this game? What are the paths to victory to this game?
Yeah, the path to victory is it's laid out. I mean, so DJ Giddens for Kansas State, I think he's already about I think he's 8 or 10 yards short of being at 700 all-purpose yards already on the year. And then you factor in the spell, running back role that Dylan Edwards is in and the juice that he provides. Lightning in a bottle. You got to shut those dudes down, and they're gonna utilize those guys through the run. More importantly, they're going to utilize those guys on motions through the backfield. They're going to motion to the slot, and they're going to get them out wide on those swing routes, and they're going to make sure that they pull a Colorado defender down into the backfield and that they're able to isolate those deeper tight ends and post routes over the middle. That being said, what do? You got to find a way to get someone that's not a linebacker on those running backs and man coverage. If they're going to be determined to play man, we know that Colorado loves their man defense. We saw them in that UCF game in the second half start to incorporate some disguising zone looks. That's immediately you saw the Travis Hunter pick. We have to start doing that consistently. As far as the man coverage goes, Kansas State's goal is to keep us in man coverage, and our goal is to find good alignments in man coverage. In my opinion, if we leave Bentley or Hill Green on either of those running backs on those swing routes and those motions to the slot and man coverage, just like what happened against UCF on the fake QB draw to the wheel route, they're going to get burned. You can't let these receivers get out wide. And if you do, find a way to play either dime packages or bring a safety down in man coverage. I feel better about Silman Craig being in man coverage on one of those backs than I do the linebackers, but even still, those running backs are good enough out of the backfield, and their speed is good enough that you just got to hope you get to the quarterback. So ultimately, this game's one up front. It's one in the trenches. If they're going to pass, you got to get to Avery Johnson, and if they're going to run, you got to stop the run. So to me, the path to victory is pretty simple, but easier said than done. What do you think?
Okay, so here's my, and I think that's an amazing assessment. I think that you are spot on 100% right. Not that I am grading you here, but
B-. I don't know. I didn't
this is another run-heavy team. We've seen this team face off against run-heavy teams. Did really good against North Dakota State. Nebraska, not so much, but I feel pretty comfortable at this point in time calling that game kind of a fluke, and they figured some stuff out, and they made some adjustments, and they got better. Baylor, much of the same. Very run-heavy team. Handled them. They shut down the Baylor run game, pretty much. When they were getting beat by Baylor, they were getting beat over the top on those long plays and on QB draws. And then UCF, before that UCF game, UCF was the best running team in the country, shut them down, made KJ Jefferson essentially a non-factor. This is the same thing. I mean, K-State, they're going to try to run the ball and establish a run game and just run you over, either with their running backs or Avery Johnson. They're going to have to do the same exact thing that they've done the last 2 weeks in a row and against North Dakota State. You're going to have to stack the box, kind of front seven, make sure everyone's contained in the backfield there. Other than that, you're going to have to make Avery Johnson make mistakes. We've seen him kind of be inexperienced and make questionable at best decisions.
Yeah.
And they're not even throwing a lot of pressure at him. It's just, he's young. He's a redshirt freshman. He kind of is just settling into college ball. He is an extremely talented player, and he's really scary to play against.
Yeah.
He will beat you through the air.
Yeah.
He will beat you on the ground.
Yeah.
But he will make the dumbest decision you've ever seen.
And I will say there has been a level of miscommunication with the receivers, and at times he's just been straight up inaccurate on certain throws. And so I'm not going to say he's an inaccurate quarterback, but I mean, he's probably 19 years old. Those fundamentals, the footwork, that sort of stuff, it comes with time. At 19 years old, there's not many dudes in the nation who are accurate. And you've seen guys like Dylan Raiola over the course of the season. Like reality checks in. You can't just make those Mahomes throws all the time. You got to set your feet at some point. You got to deliver the ball. So it's been a combination of things kind of leading towards it. But I agree that he's thrown 4 picks through five games and 3 in the last 2 weeks. We have to exploit that.
Yeah. And that's something that this team has done a pretty good job of, especially in the last week or the last 2 weeks, I guess. UCF, some picks. The secondary is really good, and Robert Livingston will throw stuff at you that will confuse you. That's going to be essential. They're going to need to confuse Avery Johnson and make him make mistakes. That's the key, at least defensively, to winning this game.
Yeah, and it's not too terribly different from what we were expecting last week, or
not at all.
Before. With UCF, right? We knew KJ Jefferson struggled to read zone coverage. We knew that he struggled to read post-snap looks. Pre-snap looks are one thing, but what does the defense do after you hike the ball? You're a Vikings fan. I mean, you know.
I do know.
What you do after the snap is more important than what you even show them before the snap. And so we knew that with KJ Jefferson, and we knew that run game was mean. Same thing this week. The only difference is Avery Johnson doesn't have that raw power that KJ Jefferson had to actually go between the tackles. So there's a little bit of schematic looks you're going to throw at him with him being a faster QB. But to me, it's a lot of the same stuff we needed against UCF, which is why maybe if you can stop the running backs out of the backfield, which I don't know if they can or not. Like I said, these are linebackers that are run heavy, not pass defending linebackers. There might be some mismatches. I fully expect that. But if we can mostly contain them, there's no reason to say, oh, well, Colorado might outpace them offensively. And if Kansas State makes a big turnover, there's no reason to think that Colorado couldn't win this game by a possession or two.
Absolutely. I think just kind of like to summarize like a TLDR of I think what we've just said over the last 10-ish minutes, you got to stop the run. That's the most important thing is you're going to have to stop the run. You're going to have to make the run you're going to have to make it extremely difficult to work on the ground, and you're going to have to force Avery Johnson into a position where he's going to have to throw the ball, and if you do that, he's going to make mistakes and he's going to turn the ball over, and that is at least defensively the key. Yes. Colorado's offense, how are you feeling about them against this K-State defense? Do you think, who do you think has the edge in this scenario, in this game here?
God, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. And, honestly, I saw a lot of improvement in that UCF game in the small details. So Shedeur to that ball on Will Shepherd put the ball in the rafters. I haven't seen that yet. If you're going to throw the ball to Will Shepherd on a route like that, that's kind of a bad throw. You could argue double coverage. The safety had beat him by a few yards. If it's any other dude almost in college football right there, other than McMillan or a handful of other guys, you don't throw that ball. The safety's got position. He's double covered. You don't throw that ball, but Shedeur puts it up in the rafters where only Shepherd can go get it. He's got the speed of a receiver, but the build of, almost. He's about 15 pounds shy, maybe a few Big Mac meals of being shy from being a tight end. So you put the ball up there in the rafters and let Will Shepherd go get it. That was something I needed to see from Shedeur. The recognition of I'm throwing to this receiver and this is the ball I need to throw for that receiver. That's something you don't see at the college level very often. But if this passing attack is going to be as good as it needs to be to win the Big 12, Shedeur needs to take that step, and he did. This offense is utilizing all of their weapons well. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Jimmy Horn, I think. But it's a tough matchup. This Kansas State secondary is good. They're good all the way through. You've got a couple good corners and a couple good safeties. They match up better in the secondary than maybe anyone we've played so far. That's really going to be where the real interest is. If they establish the run, cool, great. But if this offense can't throw the ball, we know that this offense is going to fall flat. I don't, even on their best running day, they're not putting up 150 yards, in my opinion. Yeah, it could be nice to establish the run, but ultimately we got to make sure that we can actually throw against this Kansas State secondary because they're good.
This is the most solid team that we're going to play, at least throughout, up and down the roster.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to find things to exploit against this team, both offensively and defensively. It's just a solid team throughout. I don't think they do anything except running the ball especially well. Especially defensively. It's just a really good unit throughout. I do think that the front seven is better than the secondary. And the secondary is a very good secondary, but they've struggled with allowing explosive plays. I think they're ranked around 105th in explosive plays allowed per game. So, and that's what we do is explosive plays. We're going to be throwing the ball 30 yards down the field, trying to pick up big chunks in single plays. So that's an advantage that we're going to need to exploit to win this game. Shedeur is going to need to find receivers at a fairly large depth to be able to move the chains. I don't envision we're going to be able to run the ball super well. I could be wrong, and I'd love to be wrong, but we've found success when the running game is only mediocre. The running game doesn't need to be anything stellar. We don't need to rush for 150 to 200 yards to win this game.
Just show it.
Yeah. If you are put in a position, if you're put in a 3rd and 2 position and you need to pick up 2 yards, or you're put in a 4th and 1 position, and you need to pick up a yard. As long as you can pick up those 2 yards, we're going to be fine.
Yep.
It's going to need to be a supplemental thing. It's not going to be a core part of the game plan. you're going to need to be able to run the ball supplementally. Gosh, I cannot talk today. I'm very professional. But yeah, as long as you can pick up the yards when you need to pick up the yards, we're going to be in a good spot. I believe we do have a question here. What's the spread for tomorrow? Just tuning in. For the last, I think, week or so, it's been 5.5 points, and then the last 2 days it's dropped to 4.5. What do you think? Do you like the spread? Is it too low, too high? What do you think?
So I could be wrong. I saw last night it was 3.5.
It might have gone back.
Might have even dropped.
I can check really quickly.
Might have
live update here.
I mean, either way, it's a good spread. I'm not even gonna lie. I think flat out, if I had to pick Kansas State, I think they win by. They could win by more, but I probably see. I think my prediction was 30-28. Technically, CU covers the spread there. Technically, Kansas State wins. I could see this game going either way. I think the spread's good. I mean, what do you think? Like, if I'm a betting man, I probably go money line here. I don't want to touch that spread with a 30-foot pole.
Yeah, I would agree. It is 3.5 points right now. At least on DraftKings, it's 3.5 points.
Yeah.
So that's a really good spread. That's we are.
And that's in favor of Kansas State. If we didn't
it is in favor of Kansas State. Sorry, I should have.
I don't know. If
I like money line. I like money line. I don't like that spread. If we're gonna win, I think we're gonna win by more than. I guess I don't know. If we're gonna win, I have a good feeling that it'll be by a touchdown. The 3.5 is really tough because that eliminates the field goal. But yeah, I don't know. Just money. Just do money line. Save
if it was
the headache.
Yeah, and so what he's probably getting at, in all honesty, is who's likely to win, who's favored to win, or whatever. I don't know if he's actually betting. If you are betting, I think both of us are in agreement. Just go money line. Pick who you think's going to win. 3.5 points is not enough for me, especially in college football where things are so up in the air. 3.5 points is not enough for me to go spread here. If it was that original 5-point line like you talked about, I think I'd be more tempted to start betting spreads. But I think if you want to bet CU money line and live and die by CU's outcome. You know, like don't win when CU loses. You know, that's my opinion.
No, if you're here, you're probably a Colorado fan, or you're just an elite hater. Which respect to you, I guess. Bet on your team to win. That's more fun, right? Bet on your team to win.
Yeah.
Eliminate the headache. You should be invested enough in this game if you're a big enough fan to not have to throw $30 to care about it. So that's my motto when it comes to betting. I don't bet on my favorite teams because I don't need it. I'm already invested enough. But yeah, I mean,
except for that UCF game, I had to 14-point underdogs.
Well,
I had to.
Did quite good for yourself.
I
will say you did quite good.
That was
last week we did not. I think we with our picks from last week. We went 0 for 5. I think so. That's our acknowledgement of oopsie, and we're not going to talk about it again.
Yeah, I think personally I went like 2 and 5, maybe, or 2 out of 5 on my bets. So, from 2 weeks ago, or from a few weeks ago, going 8 and 8 to then like 8 for 8, and then 4 for 6, and then for last week for me to be 2 for 5, I was like, oh, maybe I should stick with this trend and bet less each week. 8, 6, 5 this week. Although we'll probably get into that here in a little bit. I do have a couple this week. I'm
sure we will. Probably at the end.
Maybe you do too.
I haven't had enough time. I've had a really crazy week, but I can take some quick looks preliminarily. But kind of shifting gears a little bit here. 8:15 p.m. start time. Thoughts?
It's a late night for us, Ryland.
I know. It's going to be a
out
hard
of that stadium at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that sucks. I thought we left the Pac-12 so we didn't have to deal with this shit anymore. But we were wrong.
Hey, but listen, we have that late night experience. That's what it's all about.
It's Big 12 after dark. Question mark? Colorado Buffaloes after dark?
I don't know if you noticed, but the only game later than Colorado is the Hawaii game. You're telling me all the Californias? Yeah, like how did we get stuck in this time slot, dude?
Not okay. Not okay. To me, not okay. But I mean, you know what happened last time we had a night game at Folsom?
Yeah. Hey.
I don't know if I want. Strange things seem to happen.
I don't know if I want that.
Strange things seem to happen.
Do the things need to be that strange? I don't know. They could probably be a little less strange for me.
Nothing is normal about this football program ever. In any situation ever. Nothing is normal.
It's true.
I am kind of used to this at this point because it's been like a year and a half of just the most insane stuff happening like every other day. But God, it's gonna be nuts. Do you think that gives us an advantage at all, like playing this late at night, or is it just like a non-factor, or are we at a disadvantage?
No, I mean,
I don't think it really means
like Kansas is on Central Time. Like, they've got an hour on them, so it's gonna be 10. It's gonna be 9:15 for them. I mean, no, these are college kids.
It doesn't matter.
No, dude, this is gonna be. I don't think the time's a factor. I think the time, and it's cool. I mean, like in all honesty, the fact that it stinks. Like if you're an East Coast fan, if you live somewhere else, it's gonna be hard to watch the game. But in the grand scheme of things, those late slots are cool. That means you get more media coverage because there's not going to be
the whole country's going to be watching.
Yeah, and like I said, the only later game than this is Boise State, Oregon, or Boise State, Hawaii, which is at 8:45, and I think most people expect Boise State to win that game by 20 or 30. You're going to have to pick. It's going to be a Heisman choice. Are you turning on Travis Hunter or are you turning on Ashton Genty? Who's your Heisman?
How many touchdowns do you think Ashton Genty scores against Hawaii? Because I think 5.5 is like a decent over-under in that game, which is fucking crazy.
Dude, I haven't seen a running back like him in a long time. Maybe
Thank God we're not talking about quarterbacks in this Heisman race. This was so needed. This is like therapy.
Milroe had a tough week, and then Cam Ward, despite the win, I think everyone knows Miami did not. If you didn't watch the game, you didn't know, but Miami did not win.
Miami
win that game.
2 weeks in a row, ACC refs have come through for Miami.
Yeah, that's fun. And you're talking about the targeting hit that they didn't eject him.
It was 100% targeting. 100%.
Both you could have called it on two different guys. Like bro's laying there passed out, and two dudes led with their I don't know.
ACC refs. Thank God we're in a conference with the best referees, the Big 12. I have no problems so far, but give me 1 month, and I'm sure I'm going to be bitching about it on the Ralphie Report Twitter. So.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, so far I can't.
Better than Pac-12 refs?
Oh yeah, I can't think of anything so far that I'm upset with. Like a lot of the calls in real time have been right. It's crazy that you mentioned that because I think this has probably been the best refereeing I've seen at the college level so far, at least.
I don't think you're wrong. I haven't seen anything too atrocious outside of Miami.
We're used to watching like Pac-12 and Mountain West refs, so
not good.
Yeah, I think the Mountain West guys, they typically just pick up at like a local McDonald's or something, but those dudes come out of the woodwork. Those dudes have never reffed before, I swear to God. So being in the Big 12, it's nice, and we had the Big 12 refs for that Nebraska game, and then the CSU game. The refs couldn't have done a damn thing to influence that game one way or the other. So no, the refs have been good, and but I'm worried. We get an older ref, maybe a guy in his 60s and 70s. It's an 8:15 game. Hey, am I out on a limb here?
It's past their bedtime.
Yo, am I out on a limb here? Yo, call me crazy.
I don't know, man. It's just it's an after dark game, man. The vibes is if you can take Colorado out of the Pac-12, but you can't take the after dark out of Colorado. Some shit's gonna happen on Saturday, and it's gonna be atrociously weird, and it's going to be utterly unpredictable. Like, and if you told me that this was going to happen right now, I would call you crazy. But this is just who we are. This is who we are. This is who we've been for the last 10 years. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, right there. And God, could you imagine being 5-1, 3-0 in conference play? Could you it doesn't seem like an actual like tangible thing, right?
No,
like
no. If you told me that we would be having this conversation and talking about the potential 5-1 Colorado Buffaloes team when we were driving home from Lincoln, I would have probably laughed at you. I would have made
you laugh at me
jokes
a lot anyway.
at your expense.
You do that anyway, so
I do. But and here's the crazy thing too. Okay. This game is like a win-win for Colorado. If Colorado wins this game, amazing. Like this is the best win we've had since probably 2016 when we made it to the Pac-12 title game, and we are set up to potentially make a run at this conference.
Yeah.
If we lose, like what?
Womp, womp.
So what? So what? Like if we lose this game, we're underdogs at home to one of the best teams in the conference. We were not favored. Nobody was really expecting us to win this game. I mean, people are predicting we win, but like nobody's really going out on a limb like Colorado should win this game. Like if we lose this game, like, oh well, that's kind of what people thought was going to happen. And this is our second loss of the season in 6 games. The goal was to reach that 6-win threshold, get bowl eligibility. There's still 6 whole games, 6 whole weeks ahead of us. Like, it doesn't matter, really.
Yeah.
Like, losing this game doesn't change the trajectory of the season in any way, shape, or form. If we get, like, blown out, if it's, like, 56-3, like, yeah, that changes stuff. But as long as they remain semi-competitive in this game, like, nothing changes. The outlook on the season doesn't change.
Yeah, you got to stay close, though. As long as this game is close, or at least close for most of the game, like whatever, garbage time touchdowns or whatever. As long as this game is close for most of the game, I mean, it really, like you said, it doesn't really impact the long-term goals. So, hey, nothing to lose. Let's give it all she got.
Yeah, you're playing with house money in this game, essentially. Like, if we start losing to, like, Cincinnati and Arizona maybe next week, because Arizona doesn't look that good, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a cause for concern. But this is a team that's expected to at least play in Dallas, like, potential college football playoff contender here. Like, so what?
Yeah, and here's what I'll say is all of a sudden the odds of Colorado being a college football playoff team, they go from, like, if we win this game, the odds probably go from like 1% to like 8%. I know it's not like high, but the odds will probably multiply by 5 to 10 times. Like, no joke.
I think our odds right now to make the college football playoffs are around plus 6,000. I could be wrong. I think if you were to bet $100, you'd make $6,000, around plus 6,000. If we win this game, we would probably be above 2,000. It would be above plus 2,000. It would be somewhere below that threshold, which is pretty nuts. It's just what a scenario we're in. This is an amazing time to be a Colorado fan. Amazing time.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the best time in recent memory to be a Colorado football fan. And like I said last week, just go get your tickets, man. Go
get your tickets before.
Go get your tickets, dude. Because next year,
that's another discussion to be had. This game is sold out. I think this is the 8th time in the last 10 games that we've sold out Folsom Field. Last 10 home games. Well, I mean, the crowd at Folsom has always been relatively, I guess, consistently large, at least at the start of the game. And in my experience, especially as a student there for the last 6 or so years. But like at halftime when we were shitty, like the whole stadium was empty pretty much. Like you show up, you watch Ralphie run, you leave. Now we got people with their asses in their seats the whole game, rooting as loud as they possibly can for a pretty good football team, at least this season. Yeah. So we're gonna need some sort of home field advantage against Kansas State. Like we're gonna need people to get really hectic, and I think it's really important for people to understand the importance of this game, especially the newer Colorado fans who weren't here since before Dion got here. This is a really important game, not only in the college football playoff and Big 12 title game implications, but at least historically for Colorado. This is a rivalry game for all extensive purposes. I know we haven't played Kansas State for a while. It's been a while. It's been since we left the Big 12 to go to the Pac-12, but there have been some really, really important clashes between these two teams, especially in the 90s when Mack was here and Hawkins was here. Not Hawkins. Gosh, who am I talking about? Why am I blanking on his name?
What position?
Whatever. God, fake Colorado fan me. But Gary Barnett.
Gary Payton. Oh,
Gary Payton.
You say Gary
Barnett. I don't know why I was blanking on his name. But like when Bill Snyder was coaching Kansas State, and we were kind of a perennially ranked team, and in kind of the glory years, like these teams have really duked it out, and there has been some kind of bad blood between these teams. We'll see if that reignites, if this week reignites stuff. But it's interesting. If you're a longtime Colorado State or Colorado fan, like this game means a lot to you.
Yeah. When Shador's on the field, I think there's always potential for those tempers to rise. He's got to be the most hated dude in the whole country, bro.
He doesn't do himself a lot of favors, to be fair.
No, but also at the same time, you get to know him, and it's like he's kind of soft spoken.
Shador's a good
guy. He seems like a good guy, and so you start to get this impression that he's a pretty solid guy, and so all the flashiness and the risk, like all of it, is just kind of goes out the window real quickly because you're like, he's really good at football. Like that was, the first thing when I started watching Colorado football last year, like Shador was very good at football. And then even this year, like I saw a noticeable jump. We were showing up at, like scrimmages, and he's just putting the ball in a bucket at 50 yards. It's just stuff you don't really see. So, and then you get down to brass tacks, he seems like a good dude. So, but with his celebrations, who his dad is, the flashiness, wearing legendary, like right here it doesn't make many friends, I'll say. Makes probably more foes than friends. But so anyway, I think, anytime that he's on the field, there's a potential for those tempers to rise. And we've seen it in just about every game this season so far. I guess we'll just have to see how scrappy Kansas State is.
Here's the thing with Shador that I think is interesting that I guess people don't talk about enough is Shador's been dealt a great hand, but he's also simultaneously been dealt a kind of shitty hand. He's the coach's son who starts at quarterback. So that's immediately gonna, I guess, people are immediately gonna discount anything you do.
Under the 8 ball for sure.
And your dad is Deion Sanders, which also isn't gonna help you. So
yeah, if you're not a first round pick, you're a bust,
100% of the time. And let's take a look at Shador Sanders' stats through 5 games this season. He has 1,630 passing yards, 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 70% completion. QBR is 67.3. If Travis Hunter wasn't on this football team, and if he wasn't the coach's son, we would be having Heisman conversations. We would. If you look at the stats, those are Heisman caliber stats to be within the top 5 or 6 for Heisman consideration.
For sure.
It's true. It's just true. But the fact that he's getting kind of overshadowed by Travis doesn't help things for him, at least in that Heisman race. Yeah. It's kind of, and he's been really vocal. That's the other thing, is he gets a bad name because, like, he doesn't take shit. If he takes shit, he'll deal it back out to you. And we've seen it against Colorado State, which is fair. You don't have to be overly respectful to people who have publicly discounted your accomplishments and talk shit to you. Like that's like if you don't talk shit if you can't take the heat, dude. But the thing that people don't realize is,
or if you're just bad at football,
after every single loss that Colorado has, usually the first person at the podium is Shedeur to talk about it.
Yeah.
He is always the first person to go up and talk to the media, which shows really impressive leadership and accountability, which I have heard nobody talk about. The fact that he is always the first one to step up and talk and take accountability for the team. And that's usually, and you know, like that's not a discount on Dion because he's talking to the team. He's the head coach. He has stuff to do, but Shedeur is always up at the podium when this team loses.
Yeah.
It's really commendable. Extremely commendable because he doesn't have to do that. He just doesn't. And you know, I think that he deserves more recognition for at least doing that. So I guess, is it time to do predictions?
Yeah, let's do predictions and then maybe a couple bets, and we'll just keep the trend. We'll keep the trend going of being terrible. See, when the camera's on, we can't bet, but when the camera's off, we're unbelievable. You guys just know.
We were crazy 3 weeks ago, and
I think it was 8 for 8 or 9 for 9. It was ridiculous.
We were on a heater, maybe not so much anymore, but
it's all right.
Refocusing back on Folsom Field tomorrow night, about literally 24 hours from now, when this game kicks off. What is the outcome? You said 30-28.
It's tough. Yeah, you know, I've got
adjust it though.
No, I've got Kansas State 30-28. In all honesty,
yeah.
Part of me thinks though, and this is a more genuine belief, 30-28 is like your Vegas, like that's like my Vegas pick. That's like my informed pick. The honest truth about this football game is I think whatever team wins might win by a little bit more of a margin than you'd expect. I think one team might have a significant upper hand, and I don't know who yet, but whichever team comes out and establishes themselves is going to have a real good chance of winning this game by 7 to 10 points, and I think it could go either way. So Kansas State 30-28 is my middle of the road pick. It's kind of a lame pick, but my other picks would either be if blank happens, Kansas State wins by 8. If blank happens, Colorado wins by 7. Like it's one of those deals. So give me Kansas 30-28.
I like the 30-28 like a lot. Like I like it a lot.
Oh, like you're stealing it.
Well, I'm not. I think Kansas State wins, but we cover.
Okay.
But I made that assumption at the 4.5 point line, not the 3.5 point line. So my initial prediction was going to be 28-24, but I do think that they're going to find a way to cover. I do, regardless of the score. So my score prediction, I guess 28-24, but
Kansas State 28-27.
28-27.
But is Mata making 2 field goals? Like he's not even kicking 2 field goals in all likelihood.
Yeah, probably not. If we're being real.
Yeah, like Shedeur said, if I'd rather take the last punch, or what I'd rather go down swinging because I know I throw the best punch. So just knowing that mentality, if Mata kicks the ball, if he attempts more than 1 field goal, I'll be shocked.
It's gonna be close. I think that this game is gonna come down to the turnover margin. If Colorado can force 2 turnovers, they win this game outright.
Yeah,
they win this game. No ifs, ands, or buts. If they force a turnover, they probably win this game.
Yeah,
but it's gonna come down to forcing Avery Johnson to make dumb decisions with the football. That's what it's gonna come down to. We kind of know what we're gonna get out of the Colorado offense. They're gonna be throwing the ball. They're probably gonna have trouble running the ball. A lot of big plays. As long as they can put points on the board, it's gonna be a good game. But each week we've gone with our guy who we think is going to have a big game. Who are you thinking?
I haven't even really thought about this. I've been wrong every time.
Well, somebody's had a big game, so it's okay.
It's just not been the guy I thought. I have this delusional
maybe
idea.
You'll be right this week.
Maybe.
Maybe you'll jinx them.
The problem is I have this delusional idea that Jimmy Horn is going to start producing at the same level he did against North Dakota State. And he just hasn't.
I don't think that's delusional.
I don't know. It's just, it's the ball's gone to Wester. The last few weeks, the ball's gone to Wester. And then last week, or against UCF, it went to Shepherd. A little bit of Wester, mostly Shepherd and Travis. So, God, and also receivers, kind of the low-hanging fruit.
Well, that's how this team gets that's how this team moves down the field.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think the most important player for this team is going to be Shedeur. Can Shedeur keep up this Heisman level performance, which I'll just go ahead and say it. It's like if he throws for 3 touchdowns and avoids turnovers, like all of a sudden, so Shedeur is probably the most important player to win this game. Biggest players, I think give me Will Shepherd again. I don't know that Kansas State has anybody.
You stole my player again. You stole my player again.
So I'll be quick with it. I'll let you talk about what you think.
I'm just giving you shit, dude. Because I have a couple in mind. It's okay. I have contingencies.
I think Will Shepherd matches up really well against this Kansas State secondary. They're fantastic at times, but that big body, dude. And it seems like Shedeur is figuring out how to throw the ball to him. And it was a skill, like I said, Shedeur needed to learn. So I like Will Shepherd to have a touchdown or so this game, but I've thought that a few times this season. It's only happened once. So why do you like Will Shepherd?
I like his size in comparison to the Kansas State secondary.
Yeah.
I think those jump balls, kind of what we saw against UCF, those 50-50 balls, go up and get it. He's going to be really effective on those, especially on the outside. I think that's going to be a really effective way to pick up some nice chunks of yardage there. Because you went with Will Shepherd,
you got to have another one.
I have another one. There are 4 really, really good receivers on this roster.
Oh, you're going receiver with another one.
Oh, well, can you go any other position other than receiver, really? With this
you could go
the way they run the offense. You could go running back, I guess.
I'm going Savell Smalls.
I was gonna joke and say that. I'm going Sam
No,
Hart.
I mean
I'm going Sam Hart.
He's just too good. I think you could go like Silman Craig, or I think you could go like Bentley
offensively,
or maybe Dayon Hayes. Like if you wanted to get into it, if you wanted to have a nerd.
Dayon Hayes might not even play.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't play against UCF, and then the defensive ends coach on Wednesday during media availability said he's progressing, but he still looks a little gimpy, was what he said. They said they're optimistic to get him back, but I don't think it's a surefire thing that he'll be playing. That's fine. This team is really deep at defensive end. BJ Green, Okunlola, you're fine.
Nwankwo.
Well, he played. Nwankwo is like more of a tackle. They don't really have them on the end. But am I crazy for saying that?
No, you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I know,
I wrong?
I know that Nwankwo has lined up, I think, at edge, and I know that
they'll put him there in certain packages, but
and I know BJ Green,
but he's not that big.
Yeah, sometimes BJ Green kind of plays a hybrid role as well. There's a little bit of flexibility to it, and so sometimes I do forget who's playing where. Sometimes
they move those players around, and there's so many players. They brought in so many guys like Anquan Barnes, like Torian Carter, who he's gone, but like there's 6-7 guys that they're bringing in and out. Shane Cokes, like.
Yeah, he's been a big one.
It's a real unit up there. It's not like you're not seeing the same 4 guys every single snap. Yeah. As for my player offensively, who I think is going to go off, it will be Jimmy Horn. I think, as you said, maybe I'm delusional because he hasn't had a game like that North Dakota State game.
Not even close.
I think there's just so much talent at receiver on this team that each player they get their turn.
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
Yeah, we saw Jimmy had his turn week 1. Wester had his turn week 2, week 3. Week 4, it was pretty much Travis. Kind of nobody really stood out. And then last week it was Will Shepherd. I think Jimmy's due. They're going to try to feed Jimmy. Jimmy's due. So I think that he'll have a big game. I like his speed. I like him as that deep threat. You know, we'll see, but that's a good pick in my opinion.
It does seem to go in cycles, so it's not.
It does. It is for sure cyclical.
Yeah, because I going through the game 1 was Horn. Game 2 was not much happened against Nebraska, but Wester.
No, Wester had a couple touchdowns, I think. Did he?
No,
that was CSU. That was CSU.
Yeah, he had 1 touchdown against Nebraska, then 2 touchdowns against CSU. So he was the guy at CSU again. And then against Baylor, arguably Wester was the guy again, or Travis.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, Travis was the guy in that game.
Yeah.
He played. In hindsight,
that was the Travis Hunter game.
Good God, dude!
Insane,
the receptions. Dude. So you've got the Travis Hunter game, and then last game was Will Shepherd. So it's like seems like it's time. It's time for Jimmy Horn, and he's just like I said, he's too talented to not produce. Like he's a guy. He could almost not produce the rest of the year, and if I'm an NFL GM, I'm at least signing him as an undrafted free agent. He's got too many physical gifts to not give that guy a shot. Freaky athletic. And we did see him with that big punt return that was really huge against UCF there. That little sidestep maneuver.
I know. That's what sold me on this team being good. Was that one play.
That was good football.
Was that sequence, not that one play. But
yeah, because it was the 3 and out, backing them up in their own territory,
Mm-hmm.
and then getting a punt at midfield with like 20 seconds left, and then not only just getting that punt and fair catching it, but actually making something out of it.
The fact that they scored with 13 seconds left and no timeouts was nuts. Get the ball back. Yeah. But that's good. I think the most important player probably this week will be Dallin Hayden. I think that if we can't at least run the ball a little bit, we're going to lose. I think that Dallin Hayden is going to make or break this game, because if he can't get going at least slightly, we don't stand a chance. Probably not. So we'll have to see how Dallin Hayden does. It's the run game is a smaller factor in this game, but it's a really, really important key to winning this game.
Yeah.
If you can't pick up 80-ish rushing yards, it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy for you, especially with a team as physical as Kansas State.
Yeah. And God, you know what I really am excited for is just, that feeling you get pre-game where you get kind of excited and you kind of get some butterflies in your stomach. It's like it's a combination of excited but nervous. Dude, I love that feeling. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm like, it's been too long.
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like being at Folsom Field.
I haven't been to a game this important at Folsom Field, I think ever. Yeah. I graduated 2023. I got there 2019. And I didn't go to a whole ton of CU games growing up. So I can't think of a game that has this much important in terms of like playoff implications.
Yeah.
In a long time. Both teams are good. It's gonna be a good one. If you can find a way to get to Folsom Field, or at least get to Boulder and be outside Folsom Field, do it.
Yeah.
It's because this is gonna be a special environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could not agree more. I'm so stoked for it. And I know the dudes, I know the team's gonna be like
they're gonna be
moon.
It's gonna be
go. Hey, okay, so and what we need to start doing every week now is what rapper is going to be in the
I was legit just like ask you.
What? So we had Rick Ross and not Moneybag, but Mexican OT.
We had Big X the Plug.
Big X the Plug.
We had Lil Baby we had Da Baby last year.
That's crazy. And you had Lil Wayne for the CSU game, which was nuts.
That was crazy, where they ran out to the tunnel to a Lil Wayne concert.
Nuts.
That's something I'll never forget. Here. Ooh. Okay. Do you have your pick for rapper?
Or
That
a
we're gonna see?
rapper?
Rapper? Who are we gonna see?
You know, it's just gonna be.
I think I have mine.
Yeah, go ahead, dude. I gotta think about this. I like it was like a hypothetical, like joking question, but it's a funny.
No, it's gonna
segment.
be. No, it's gonna happen.
It's
There's
gonna happen.
be a rapper.
It's just like
there's gonna be a rapper. It's just a matter of who.
Yeah, who do you got?
Give me Baby Keem.
Baby Keem.
Give me Baby Keem.
Let's go. Let's go.
We're going big this week.
Dude.
We're going big this week. This is the big game.
That was
this
a
is a big game.
There is a higher likelihood of Rihanna being there than there is Baby Keem. I think this team is more. They're more looking for like Moneybag Yo or like
a Moneybag Yo.
Like
okay, that's
Boosie or something, dude. Like they're gonna come out, bro. They're coming out.
Like Shabuzi is gonna be there,
dude. No joke. Like to me that's like if it was up to Boulder, like what does the Hill want?
Oh.
What do the frats on the Hill want? Like Baby Keem would be there.
You'd be getting like Zed's dead if you gave it up. Yeah. If you let Boulder decide.
Well, you're getting
EDM, dude.
I was more thinking like the frat scene. You're thinking like the average.
I know.
Boulder.
I'm just giving you.
I mean,
shit.
And the frat scene, like Baby Keem would be the pick, but among the team, like give me money. I've already brought
recruits, dude. I think there's gonna be some big time recruits. You gotta bring in the big dog to sell this program.
I've brought up Moneybag Yo twice. I don't know why, but just I guess give me Moneybag Yo. I think that's who I'd like to see.
Gonna go with Moneybag Yo until he shows up.
Dude. I'll start tweeting him, bro. I don't know what it'll take.
Start tweeting him.
It's like as if I have any say so. Hey, Moneybag Yo, I do a little bit of media for him. You should Ralphie report plug for Moneybag
Yo collab.
No, but that's a funny segment, and I will be excited to see who I'll have to. That's like the only reason I get on Twitter every week is just to see what rappers in the locker room pregame.
That's so real. That's so real.
Do we want to do?
Time? Is it bets time?
Beds? Oh yeah. Do we want to do some bets
with a T? It's not bedtime. It's only 8.
Well, according to some people in the chat, it is bedtime.
Yeah, it is bedtime. That would be true. Okay, I'm gonna let you go first because I need to look at these lines.
I've got some.
I need to educate myself.
Yeah, I mean that's a good life rule just in general. I'd say is. Okay, so first one I've got. Where is it? So Washington at Iowa. Washington is 3-point dogs. Give me Washington to double up on their success. They had obviously that level of success against Michigan. Give me Washington to double up. At least cover that spread. I've got Washington winning it. I'd probably take the money line on that guy and just bet Washington to win outright if you're gonna bet on them. I'll do 3. I've got to rapid fire a couple more here. Okay, I've got a more normal pick. This is do I want to do the? No, I won't, dude. I'm gonna leave this one for you because I know you're gonna pick it. You're gonna pick the Iowa State West Virginia game, aren't you?
I'm not actually.
You're not.
Have 2.
Okay, then
I have 2 that are completely different.
Okay, so I'll do that one then. I've got Iowa State favored by 3.5 at West Virginia. Give me Iowa State. I don't really have to think about that one. I shouldn't really have to explain it. West Virginia's bad and Iowa State's rolling. So 3.5 points is not a big spread. Obviously, that could go either way. I think in the grand scheme of things, like West Virginia could win that game at home, but my heart's telling me Iowa State wins that game for sure. And then here's my nerd pick of the week.
Okay.
I like to get into every week I have a nerd pick, like a total, where did this guy, why is he even looking at that game? It's a nerd pick. Give me New Mexico favored 6.5 points against Air Force. Nerd pick. Well,
Air Force fucking sucks.
Air Force is essentially if IMG didn't have any talent and every one of the players was just bad at football. and then you actually aged them down about 6 years because have they thrown for over 50 yards in a game yet?
Air Force?
I mean,
I
it's
doubt
like
it. It's fucking Air Force.
It's pathetic. I can't even like. You know what I mean? I can't with Air Force every week, dude. I'm done with them. New Mexico 6.5. It could honestly be IMG. I'm taking IMG 6.5. All right,
Jake,
go ahead.
I'm not your doctor, but I'm prescribing you a break from Air Force football.
Dude, I bet against them every week.
I don't think it's good for you. I don't think it's good for you, dude.
It's going well.
I think you need to take a 1 to 2 week break from Air Force football.
No,
and then you can come back and continue your hate train.
Not while I'm winning, baby. Not while they still suck.
Okay. I got my 3 picks, and they're 3 big games this week. They're all 3 of them are nationally televised. So you can watch them all. Okay. First pick is Red River rivalry game.
No
Red River week. Texas spread is Texas -15. This game is never, ever, ever normal. It's always a shit show. It's always close. It always comes down to the wire. I don't think Oklahoma is going to keep it especially super close. I think they'll lose.
Okay.
By
I thought you're about to pick them to win.
No, I'm not picking Oklahoma to win, but I'm picking Oklahoma to cover.
Okay.
I'm picking Oklahoma to cover the -15 spread.
Hey, is that Arch Manning or is that Quinn Ewers?
I don't know, and I don't know if they know.
I don't think it matters.
They're doing the thing.
Okay.
Give me Arch Manning. Arch Manning's more fun than Quinn Ewers, anyways.
Yeah, give me Arch Manning.
Give me Arch Manning. I like the Manning family. So I think that's a good pick.
Okay.
This game is always like the most unpredictable nightmare ever. It's always like something is always happening in this game.
Yeah,
this was the Caleb Williams breakout game 3 years ago when they benched Spencer Rattler and they put Caleb Williams in and he balled out and he won the game for Oklahoma. Last year it was like the Dylan Gabriel coming out party and they beat Texas and that was the only loss Texas had until the college football playoffs. It's always like a freak show. It's like the Twilight Zone. Nothing normal ever happens. The spread doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Ever. It's like it's always so unpredictable. Second game is Penn State versus USC. The spread is Penn State is favored by 3.5 points. Give me Penn State to cover. USC I think is on fraud watch right now. They have lost to 2 Big Ten teams at the moment. Both of them I don't think are particularly good Big Ten teams. Michigan is one of them, and Minnesota is another one.
Hey, so, you watch your mouth about Minnesota.
Hey, ski you ma. Go Ghost. I don't think Minnesota is a real program under PJ Fleck. I don't. I don't believe in PJ Fleck. Penn State is the best team that they've played so far by like a country mile. Penn State is way more talented. They are just gonna bully USC at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So give me Penn State to cover that game.
Like that pick.
Lincoln Riley is perpetually on fraud watch in my eyes. So give me Penn State to cover. Last game is Oregon versus Ohio State. This is the game of the week. This is the college game day game.
You're going Ohio State.
No. No, I'm not going Ohio State. Give me Oregon money line. Give me Oregon money line against Ohio State. Okay.
Bro just said, "Give me Iguodala."
Give me Iguodala.
No, that's
laser pointed at Eugene, Oregon. Give me Dan Lanning and Dylan Gabriel in the Oregon Ducks to get the job done against the number 2 team in the country.
No, I know you're an Oregon hater. Like, you're not an Oregon hater, but you're not as high on Oregon as some people are.
I was an Oregon hater, but I think they're starting to figure it out. I don't know if you remember, my preseason prediction for national championship was actually Oregon.
Was that my pick?
I don't know if you knew that.
Was that my lame
I don't remember.
Pick too?
I picked Oregon under Dan Lanning is a sneaky football team.
Yeah.
by the words of the great Spencer Hall. They are a football-ass football team. You know, they get a lot of attention for the flash, and it's a lot of, you know, they got the uniforms. It's a very flashy program. They always have a quarterback who can air the fuck out of the ball. They always have a very explosive West Coast style offense. But this team can dominate you at the line of scrimmage. They can. They have the talent to do it. They have the unlimited NIL money to just build this roster. Literally, the Phil Knight said, "Take as much money as you need."
Mr. Unlimited.
I know it's pretty.
My bad. It's too.
There's a lot of Broncos fans. There's a lot of Broncos fans. The
it's
overlap,
too recent
even
for
though
Broncos
we're not that.
fans.
Even though we're not that. Vikings fan and Colts fan. Yeah.
Yo, shout out. Yeah, nah, dude. I don't even want to
shout
talk
out your
that.
Indianapolis Colts.
No, dude. Move on. Move on. Go.
Move
dude.
on. Yeah. Give me
We're ending
Oregon.
it here.
I don't think Ohio State has not played a real football team yet, and I'm still willing to say that, even though I said that last week. I don't think Iowa's really a real football team. If you've watched Iowa's offense, if you've watched Iowa's offense over the last 5 years, you understand what I mean. They do not play offense. They are allergic to offense. If you like punting, you are a fan of the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is going to be a real test for Ohio State. This offense is high flying, really talented players on this offense all across the board, especially at receiver and running back. So the Ohio State defense hasn't played anybody even remotely, even kind of close to as talented as Oregon. And Will Howard is still the jury's still out on Will Howard. Will Howard, I mean, you know, it could be Will Howard could be really good. Will Howard could be extremely underwhelming. You know, he got run out of Kansas State. Speaking of Kansas State, if he could have stayed at Kansas State, I think he would have. I think they pretty much made him leave so that Avery Johnson could be handed the keys to the car. So I don't know. Ohio State, I understand that they're, you know, like number 2 in the country, probably the betting odds to win the national title. They have not faced a real test. Give me Oregon to show this team what they're about, establish themselves. I don't feel super duper confident on it. That's the one I feel the least confident about, but I feel it in my gut, and I think it's a fun pick. So I'm going to
What Ryland is saying is, if you want to make money this weekend, you have to just
sell your house and bet the money on Oregon. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't actually do that.
I have better advice, and this is actually serious. You need to take your kid's college fund and you need to put it on New Mexico.
You are like throwing. I'm impressed. I'm impressed that you are you're so deep into the college football world now. You're you are on the fence.
You need to mortgage your house.
New Mexico Lobos.
You need to mortgage your house.
Mendenhall is a fucking good coach, dude.
Well, dude, yes. New Mexico has actually played above my expectations. Air Force is
I don't think that's. Yeah, Air Force sucks.
Air Force sucks. I'm putting my house on it. I'm mortgaging my house.
Yeah.
Pulling whatever value I have out of it. My kid's college fund is gone. My 401k is gone. And it's going on New Mexico. Okay, don't do any of this. This is for entertainment only, comedic purposes. Don't find me on social medias if you lose your house. But listen.
You know
what I'm saying?
There's some good lines this week. There's some sneaky good lines. As I look, LSU underdogs against Ole Miss. Ole Miss doesn't look that good.
Okay.
I mean, that's a sneaky good pick.
Yeah, that's a game. That's a game I'm staying away from.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but there's money to be made there potentially. Another really sneaky good pick that I'm just seeing for the first time is Oregon State at Nevada. For some reason, Oregon State's only favored by 3 points.
I agree.
That's a crazy. Too. Yeah, bet Oregon State to cover. I mean, we as Colorado fans understand the Brendan Lewis experience. Wish him the best of luck. Bet Oregon State to cover that game. I think there's certainly some money to be made this week. Yeah. Vanderbilt at Kentucky. Kentucky's 12.5-point favorites. Did we watch Vanderbilt last week? Do we want to acknowledge what happened in Nashville last week? Do we want to acknowledge where that goalpost went 3 miles into the Cumberland River?
Do we want to talk about Kentucky being dogs?
This is what Kentucky does. This is what Mark Stoops does, dude. This is like Kentucky is going to make you play the worst game you've ever played.
I'm not betting against Kentucky. You couldn't, like I said, death being pointed at earth. I'm not picking Vandy in that game. Kentucky's too big.
I sounded crazy for saying don't bet against Vandy last week. And here we are.
Dude, Kentucky's a
right?
different breed.
Am I wrong?
I hope someone cuts this and makes it.
Are you saying Kentucky is a different animal than Alabama? Is that what you're saying to me right now?
I'm saying Kentucky is different. They lost to Georgia by what, 1 point, 2 points?
Yeah, and they got shithoused by South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina is not a bad program. South Carolina should have beaten LSU, in all honesty.
Yeah, and they got shithoused by Ole Miss last week.
Yeah, but who beat Ole Miss?
This is such a fun fucking year of college football.
This is all crazy? A circle. Yeah,
it's all a circle. I feel like this is the best year we've had since 2007. There's been, I think, 5 of the top 11 teams lost last week. Like this is a wide open race,
and there's going to be more
12-team playoffs. And barring something catastrophic, like Boise State's going to get that group of 5 bid. So you're going to get Ash and Genty in like 11 really good teams in the playoffs. Yeah. This is fucking awesome.
Boise State's good.
What a time to be a college football fan, dude. What a time. I can't wait to see Ash and Genty have to play in Tuscaloosa, and it's going to be him against 11 men.
It's phenomenal, dude. I mean, like, you look around the league, the best team in the league is currently being led by a Manning at quarterback. The Heisman race with Travis Hunter, a generational
2 non-quarterbacks at this point in time.
And Ashton Genty's statistically the best college running back who's pretty much ever existed. Travis Hunter is the best two-way player who's ever existed. It's not even close. And you've just got more parity than ever. It's fantastic. If I could change one thing, it'd probably be the overbloated conferences of 20 teams that are fucking 2,000 miles away. But other than that, like, dude, this is awesome. Like, this is better than NFL this year. And I typically an NFL guy, so.
Can we bring back the big? I think we're at the point where I'm done with these like 18-team conferences. As soon as Washington played a conference game against Rutgers in Piscataway, New Jersey, I was out on the Big Ten. The Big Ten is lame.
Big Ten's messed up.
The Big Ten is lame. It's not cool. The Big Ten, declare the Big Ten to be a lame conference. The most fun conference in college football is the Big 12, I think, right now. It really is. This is the chaos
I mean, SEC is fantastic as well.
Well, the SEC is always
SEC is going to SEC,
but
though.
Like the SEC, it's always going to be the SEC. You're always going to get the highest level of football, and then like crazy stuff's going to happen. But there's nothing quite like the charm of the chaos ball that the Big 12 brings to the table every single week.
Yeah,
you got Iowa State heading to Morgantown, West Virginia this week. Gonna be a crazy game. I don't know. But maybe West Virginia is good. They did lay the beat down on, I don't know, maybe they're figuring it out. I guess their only 2 losses are to ranked teams. Granted, one of them is a ranked Pitt team, which they probably won't be ranked after this week. They play Cal. Which is
that's a tough game. I think Pitt's favored by
Cal's
a couple
sneaky,
points,
dude.
but
Cal's sneaky. Good.
Yeah, and like I said, they were the better team last week against Miami, and Miami got bailed out. So,
yeah,
Cal's played well. They played real well this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a fun year, fun week, huge week for the Buffs. I think ready to wrap this up.
Absolutely, and it's really unfortunate because we have some good viewership right now, but we have exhausted.
I know. I gotta go. I got stuff to do.
It's unfortunate.
Jake's got a final to take.
I've got a final to take. Ryland's got. Who knows what I'm going to play?
I am going to get a beer with my friend Miles.
Oh no, Ryland's going to play Parcheesi. Don't listen to him.
Yeah, I'm not doing shit.
He's playing Candyland.
But Jake actually has stuff to do.
I do have to do, but
I could sit here and talk about West Virginia at Iowa State and like some dumb shit for the next hour and a half. But you know what?
Please, everybody, come tune in next week. We're gonna do this again next week.
We'll announce it ahead of time. It's been kind of a hectic 2 weeks for us, but we'll be better about it next week.
Next week's gonna be better. We're gonna announce it ahead of time, and I think Friday is gonna be the new day. We don't want to interrupt Thursday night football, and we don't want to
Friday or Wednesday.
Wednesday would work for me from now on. So we can also look at doing Wednesday. We'll get a comment.
We'll hop in the conference call and we'll figure it out. We'll get it on paper. We'll talk some X and O's of podcasting live.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got a Sko Buffs in the chat. That's
Sko
great.
Buffs. Let's go, Braden Nelson. I don't know this guy.
I don't know this guy,
That's my cousin. Hey. That's my cousin.
Oh. Who is that guy?
I don't know this guy. Well, I think good talking to you. Go Buffs. Beat Kansas State. Huge game. We'll be at the game. We'll both be in the press box. Keep an eye out for coverage. We'll have it. Make sure to follow Ralphie Report on Twitter. We'll be shit posting, making fun of Kansas State. Probably
we'll be
posting game updates and all that good stuff. All the Ralphie Report stuff you know and love will be on the Twitter. Make sure you keep your eye out on the website, ralphiereport.com. A lot of good content coming out. Jake's preview for the K-State game just came out today. It's really good. Make sure you go read it. I have an injury report that just came out. Shiloh Sanders is back. We didn't touch on that, but he's back this week. So, yeah, I think that's it from us. Let's go Buffs. Take care. Buffs.